All right, let's work on the practice problems from 1.4b, measure and classify angles. Remember, just to remind you about what we're talking about here, we are talking about how to name and classify angles and find their angle measures. So we're going to do both of these things in this lesson. It does have 3 pages, so we will go through everything. So what I want you to do is pause for a second, get down to the bottom of the page, and let me get caught up here. All right, on these practice problems, we're going to talk about classifying angles. So what it says here is it asks us to classify or name the angle described. If there is more than one, find all of them. So, letter A, we are looking for angle KIL. I think that it's important to trace these out, so you're going to be thinking right on the paper. When we say show your work, sometimes it's just a matter of doing some doodling. So put your pencil on K, and then trace to I, and then trace to L, and then color in between those 2 lines. And then the question is, how big is that angle? That angle is less than 90 degrees. That makes it acute. Then we go to the next one, and it asks for angle HIK. Again, put your pencil on H, trace to I, and then trace to K, and then I want you to shade everything in the middle there. And the question is, how big is that? Is that 90 degrees where it goes straight up? Is it a small angle or is it a large angle? And in this case, that is an obtuse angle because it is more than 90 degrees. Let me erase those 2 guys there so I can see my letters here. The last one, it asks about angle H, over to I, and then up to J. And again, I'm coloring in between those. And how many degrees is that? Well, that one turns out to be a right angle. And how do I know that that one is exactly equal to 90 degrees? Because that one has the little box right there in the corner. That means exactly 90 degrees, and that's how I know that that is a right angle. Then the next question asks me to name a straight angle. Remember, the straight angle is the one that goes straight across the bottom. And so I'm going to be naming that. I is the middle. Remember that we cannot name that angle I because we have all those other letters on the interior. So we have to name that angle HIL, or we can name that angle LIH. We can go in either order, from left to right or right to left. They all work the same. Then the last question asks us to actually name all of the right angles. And so we have already done one of them, HIJ. How do we find the other right angles? Well, remembering, if this is 180 degrees all the way across, and I have 90 degrees on this side, how many degrees do you have to have on the other side? Well, that would have to be 90 degrees, because what is 90 plus 90? 180. So to name the right angle, I'm going to name angle JIL. And is there another angle that measures 90 degrees in this picture? And I don't see one. These are both acute, so I think that's an extra blank. What I want you to do is pause this guy, move on to the next page. For these problems, they are asking us to use parts of the cubic strategy to help set up the following problems. So notice here that we are only setting up, we do not have to solve them. So in the picture, we don't have a lot of words in our description. For this problem, we just have the diagram. Circling the 2 numbers, underlining the question, it says write an equation. That's what we have to do. Boxing up the important words, we don't really have any of those. Our picture is drawn, so let's draw our equation. What do we know here? Oh, sorry, we have to do MAH. M to A to H. Notice that's the whole picture there. So what would the equation be to equal MAH? We could say 25 plus 30 is equal to the measure of angle MAH. And we might even be able to just say that that equals 55 degrees. How do we know all of this? This is your basic example of angle addition. We have a part, and we have a part, and we have a whole thing. Let's try the next one. Write an equation that would find x if ABC is equal to 44 degrees. Circle our numbers. We got these guys right there. Write an equation that would find x. And so I have to go to my picture and find A, and then B, and then C, and I notice that that is everything. So again, we're going to take our part, 5x plus 2, and our other part, 7x minus 6, and equal it to the whole thing. Part plus part equals whole. What is the reason for this? Angle addition. What I want you to do is pause the video right there, work on the next two questions, and I will check your work here in just a sec. All right, I started letter C already. It says if KLM is a straight angle, I put a box on that. Straight angle is an important geometry word. Find angle KLN and angle NLM. That is what they want us to do. I've circled the numbers in the problem, 10x minus 5 and 4x plus 3. When I think about this straight angle thing, I'm thinking automatically that that is equal to 180 degrees. So I can put in 180 degrees right there. And that gives me an equation that looks like this. 10x minus 5 plus 4x plus 3 equals 180. If you wanted to do some mental math right away, you could do the 10x plus the 4x, and you could call that 14x. And you could do the minus 5 plus the 3 and call that minus 2. That would also be an acceptable answer. The reason for that is simply angle addition. The left side plus the right side equals the whole amount. If we look at letter D, very similar question. It says if angle EFG is a right angle, box up right angle because that's an important geometry word. Find angle EFH and angle FHG. Those are the things we want to do, so we underline that. We circled the numbers in the problem, the 2x plus 2 and x plus 1. I put that little box in the corner there because I know that all right angles equal to 90 degrees. That's vocabulary from earlier in the lesson. That helps me set up the equation that I'm going to use. 2x plus 2 plus x plus 1 equals 90. Again, we can do some mental math. 2x plus 1x makes 3x, and 2 plus 1 makes 3. That also would be an acceptable answer. And again, the reason that we can do that is simply angle addition. The part plus the part equals the whole thing. From there, why don't we pause this guy and we'll jump on to page 3. All right, in this last section of practice problems, we're going to be doing angle addition and specifically talking about adding in some bisectors. So this first question says that ray YW bisects angle XYZ. If the measure of XYZ equals 18 degrees, find the measure of WYZ. We need to draw a diagram and solve. So we need to think through our cubics problem. So again, bisect, very important word. YW bisects that angle right there, and the whole angle is 18 degrees. When I draw that picture, I have YW bisecting the whole angle, XYZ. Then I take this number right here, XYZ, and I plug it into the picture. It's important that you plug it into the right place. So X to Y to Z is actually the whole thing. That means this guy right here is 18 degrees, the whole angle. The question asks us to find W, Y, Z. If I trace that out, W to Y to Z is only the bottom part of that. If the whole angle is 18, how big does the bottom angle have to be? That would simply be 9 degrees with 9 degrees on the top. So the measure of angle WYZ is 9 degrees. That's it. That's all there is to that. Let's jump ahead to letter B. It says, assume D is on the interior of angle ABC. Find X, the measure of ABD, and the measure of ABC, given that ABD equals 4x minus 2, and the measure of angle DBC equals 3x plus 18. Draw a diagram and solve. So, I think one thing that's important is that D is on the interior of ABC. Our numbers that we have are these guys right here. They ask us to find X, ABD, and ABC. We need to draw our diagram and solve this. So, if we draw a picture, we have that information right now. D is on the interior of ABC, and we know that 4x minus 2 is in ABD, and 3x plus 18 is in DBC. The question is, do we have enough information to solve this problem? The way the problem is written, we don't have enough information right now. But if we assume that BD is an angle bisector, again, another important geometry word, then we can put these marks that we have on here. Those angles are equal. That means that this guy and this guy have to be the same measure. That gives us the equation 4x minus 2 equals 3x plus 18. Then from there, we're going to go and solve that. We've talked about this a few times now. Remember, we like to keep things positive when possible, so we're going to minus the 3x this way, draw our line to do our work. These guys right here make 1x, bring down minus 2. These guys make 0, bring down positive 18. Then from there, we're going to add 2. These guys make 0, bring down 1x. Add these guys up and make 20. Divide by 1 if you want. We get x equals 20. Does that answer the question that was asked originally? Part of it, it says find x. We have x. But then it says find ABD. When I look on my picture, A to B to D is the top part of the angle. That means that we have to plug x into this. It says 4x minus 2. We're going to write 4 times 20 minus 2. That's going to be 80 minus 2 equals 78 degrees. What does that tell us about the bottom? That the bottom is also 78 degrees. The final part of the question says that they want us to find A, B, and C. Well, again, the measure of angle ABC has to be 78 plus 78. That turns out to be 156 degrees. So we have three answers here. X equals 20, ABD equals 78, and angle ABC equals 156 degrees. This for sure would be a kind of question that you would have to know for a test. So make sure that this is a question that you study for the test. Then let's jump down and look at the last two questions that we have. For these two questions, notice that we only need to set up an equation for each picture. Why are the equations different? So here we have that measure of YXV is 60 degrees. Look at Y to X to V. That guy is 60. And then when we look at the second part, it says that WXY is a bisector. And I know that that makes two equal parts. So this guy right here is the bisector. Those two pictures are the same, but with different information to start with. We will set up two different equations. For the first problem, we are going to do angle addition, because they give me the whole measure, and I have the two parts, 2x plus 11 plus x plus 13 equals 60 degrees. But on the second one, because of the bisector, I know that this guy and this guy are the same. We're going to set up an equation that is 2x plus 11 equals x plus 13 because of bisector. All right, what I want you to do is stop your video, move on to your homework, bring your questions to class tomorrow.